Hi, I'm Francie Berg, and I'm excited to tell you about the only place in the world where the entire buffalo story comes together. Welcome to the Buffalo Trails in the Dakota Buttes, a self-guided tour.
How'd you get started in this, Francie? What interests you?
Well, I guess when we first came to Hettinger, there would be an old timer around and they'd say, "Did you know this is where the last buffalo hunts were, or the last buffalo stand?" And I'd say, "No, tell us about it." And they would say, "Well, I don't know, that's what people say." And so it took a couple years before one day I was in the library and I picked up James McLaughlin's book, My Friend the Indian, and his memoirs. He wrote several stories, and all of a sudden, paging from the back to the front, I found I was reading an amazing story about an actual buffalo hunt, and all the details were laid out there. He rode up Hiddenwood Creek, which is right outside my kitchen, my living room window, and with 2,000 Native Americans that came from Fort Yates, and 600 mounted riders were with them. A couple of years later, I found another dusty memoir, and it was a Congregational missionary, Thomas Riggs, who lived at Fort Pierre. And that was an entirely different hunt. It was a winter hunt, but it was a Native American hunt with all the same tradition and the same ceremony. They both fit perfectly into William Hornady's book, and he told about the last. He was sent out from Smithsonian Institute. He was very concerned to get it right because he really thought that buffalo were gone forever and there would never be any more buffalo. And so he wanted to save some buffalo for the museums, and he thought that was the best he could do. So when we started, our Visitors Council we did a small book on the last buffalo hunts, and that was all that was in that. We did tours. But now we have another book that has 10 sites instead of 3, and it includes what happened to the buffalo after they got saved. So that's kind of what we want to focus on today.
Is it a self-guided tour, or is it a tour that we can go on?
It's a self-guided tour, and that way everybody can go at their own convenience.
And is there signs at these sites?
There are signs, bright yellow signs. There are directions, and there are maps. So we hope you can find it.
Will we see any buffalo at any of these sites?
There are buffalo through the whole area. We'll have to see about the buffalo. Buffalo are very dangerous, so we want to warn people not to go in the pastures without being invited. But you probably will see some buffalo from the road. Here you see a panoramic view of the South Grand River as it winds through one of the valleys where the last wild buffalo grazed. This may well be the place where Pete Dupree and his family came with a team and buckboard wagon in early summer 1881 or 1882 to save buffalo calves. They had hunted buffalo that long cold winter in the Slim Buttes. Native people knew the last herds of buffalo were almost gone. Maybe by the hunt's end, Pete Dupree knew he wanted to save buffalo calves. The Duprees also lived fairly close here with their several families at the mouth of Cherry Creek on the Cheyenne River, only a 2-day trip with team and wagon. Let's imagine them coming over the far ridge from the southeast at the left, with several Lakota outriders, maybe leading extra horses for packing home fresh meat. Their small party pauses there on the horizon a few minutes, taking in the scene before them and planning their approach. In our mind's eye, we can see what they did. Five groups and families are honored as pivotal in saving the buffalo from extinction. This includes 3 with Native American roots who knew the traditional importance of buffalo in the lives of their people. The 5 are the Pete Dupree and Scotty Phillip families in South Dakota, Sam Walking Coyote and Purchasers in western Montana, James McKay, a Métis or Métis, and his neighbors in Manitoba, Canada, and 2 white ranching families, the Charles Goodnights in Texas and Buffalo Jones in Kansas. Their herds flourished and became the foundation for buffalo herds throughout the United States and Canada. In the recent revision of our 1995 book, we found there is much more to tell. The miracle of how the buffalo evaded extinction after all. The mystique of the white buffalo. Modern dilemma playing out in Yellowstone Park. We decided that combining the printed history with personal tours of the sites where it all happened may be the best way to bring together the many amazing events here in the Northern Plains with factual information of this magnificent animal. If you're a traveler smitten by the iconic American buffalo, you can plan your next trip around the 10 buffalo sites.